What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Thursday. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great week so far. You have to be having somewhat of a better week, I'm sure. Bitcoin is up 4.8% on the day. We did hit all the way down to about that $6,400 level. We pumped up to $7,480 on futures. We definitely closed the CME futures gap, but what does this mean for Bitcoin now that we closed the gap? Is that it? Are we just heading back down, or was this actually a significant bounce? You can see currently we are still kind of hanging around this sort of support region that we had right here. So I do want to discuss that moving forward. However, we do have bad news, and it might not even be for Bitcoin this time. It's actually potentially for Ethereum, because it looks like these guys from PlusToken actually have a pretty big Ether hoard, and they just moved some. And are they looking to dump? Well, we're going to get into that. Also, interestingly enough, somebody's actually working on some pretty cool Bitcoin privacy features. I know, privacy on Bitcoin. So I do want to talk about that as well. And if all of that sounds good to you, well, you know what to do. Also, if you're not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, we do this every single day. And also, I wanted to say thank you so much, guys, for 9,400 subscribers. You guys freaking rock. What an incredible journey it's been. You guys are seriously the best community ever. Can't wait till I get to 100K, then I get one of those cool little check marks, all right? So, that being said, let's dive in. Let's have a look. Let me actually give this page a quick refresh. Now, you do notice that the Bitcoin dominance is relatively high today. We are up to 68.3%. That's very high for Bitcoin. Now, I do want to point out one thing about the altcoins. Even though the altcoins have had a nice gain in their dollar percentage, if you do switch this to the Bitcoin comparative, you actually notice that the majority of these are actually in the red, which is once again showing that Bitcoin is leading the way. And if you're not in Bitcoin, well, then currently on this move, you actually are missing out on those gains. You know, everyone's getting dollar gains, but if the ultimate goal is to own Bitcoin, then yeah, Bitcoin's actually moving better than the rest today. But we do have some gainers that are somewhat higher than Bitcoin. For example, Tomo Chain, been a lot in the news about them lately. Stratus, Horizon Waves, Maker, iExec, Swipe, Steam, and FTX token as well. Having a look at the newly remodeled Coin Farm, you can see they actually added more down here. So now they actually have BitMEX, Binance, Bybit, Bitfinex, and OKX. And you can see right here, currently actually the longs are up a little bit over the shorts, not by much, a very, very small percentage. Now, I want to talk about yesterday the fact that the Fear and Greed Index, was actually at 15, which is relatively low. You can see today it's a little bit higher at 21. And, historically, when we do have the Fear and Greed Index sort of hitting these extreme levels, we tend to have a little bit of a bounce back, which is what we did have yesterday. But the big question is, how significant was this move? Well, you guys can see right here, it was a massive move from bottom to top. If we actually go from wick to wick over here on futures, we hit about 15.87%. Now, did you actually buy the bottom and sell the top? Neither did I, guys. Nobody did, let's be honest. But that being said, the good thing about this is that we did close this CME futures gap right here. So we can go ahead and just get that right on out of the way. Now, moving on and having a look though, we do have some short-term resistance, as in like immediate resistance that we need to get above. And that's basically just this line right here. You can see we had this little bit of support, very minor support right here, right in November, 19th and 20th, before we took the plummet into the red zone down to the 6.4K level. And if we don't get above this level short term, well, then we kind of just risk bouncing our way back down into the red zone again and then putting ourselves right back where we were. So what's the level that I'm looking at short term? Well, short term, the level I'm looking at is $7,860, because that's where we sort of wicked right here. And I think if we can get above this and then break above that, well, then we'd finally be putting in a short term, keep in mind, very short term, higher high level, right? Now, looking at the positives, we do have some positives. The one thing I want to point out is that we are once again back above the 200 daily moving average over here on the 3-day chart. You can see right over there, we are above it, not by much, but we are sitting above it, so I will take that. One other key level that we actually held was the 21 exponential on the monthly. I spoke about the significance of this months and months ago, but here we are, finally touching the level. You can see right here, it was so important during the last end of the, almost bear market before the massive drop. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we touched it on the monthly. So essentially for 5 months, we rode above that level and finally fell. Currently, we are sitting on it right now. And yeah, I mean, that's basically right around that sort of 7 $7,000 level. We are sitting above that. Once again, not by much. One level that we are not sitting above is the 21 exponential on the daily. And you can see once again the significance of this level, obviously holding us up during the bull and keeping us down during the bear. And right now, I mean, I don't have to show you guys, we literally got stomped out exactly on the candle right here. And that is definitely the level to get above, which is at that $7,280 level. But keep in mind, guys, we are still in this giant descending wedge. We are not out of the woods just yet. As I said on my yesterday's video, even if we were to go up to about $9,000, really that only still puts us at the top of the wedge, right? So we do need to get out of this. However, the one interesting thing I will point out is that we are still dancing around this sort of trend line that held us up right before the fall. You can see even when we had this wick down here, look, that's exactly where we touched. And if we go back a little farther, you can see essentially that was what was holding us up during the, right before the major fall. So kind of interesting, right, that we are respecting these sort of legacy trend lines. Now, once again, to remind everybody that says we're going to have a 50% dump when we get to the end of this, well, keep in mind, this is not a descending triangle. This is a descending triangle. This is a falling wedge. Falling wedge patterns are technically textbook bullish when they do finally break out, right? But we do notice that we are basically having to break out of these key levels. Now, I saw two of these trend lines drawn by different analysts. I just want to point out, I don't necessarily think either one of these is correct or incorrect. You can see right here, this trend line that essentially supported us has now sort of become the resistance. It was the top of the China pump, and this support right here this support right here is still holding us. But just keep in mind, guys, I mean, you could draw lines on the charts all day. Essentially, the most important thing right here is that this, essentially this yellow line that's been holding us up all this time has been holding us, and it did hold at that 6.4K level. Is this going to be resistance? Most likely. Probably going to be resistance, guys, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Once again, dancing around the 0.618 Fibonacci level. Like I said, we need to kind of get out of this pocket. We have the 0.5 sitting around the $8,474 level. However, realistically, guys, let's just be honest. To get actually bullish again, to really say that we may potentially be back in a full-on bull market, we really need to get back up to this blue zone. The bottom of the blue zone is around the 9.5K level. The reason that I say that is that's kind of where like those solid sort of candles started hitting. Obviously we had some wicks in the descending triangle around the 9.1K level, but really what's holding us down is this sort of center trend right here. You can see we kind of flip back and forth it over time, right? But one thing that I do want to point out, and I do actually want to give a shout out to CryptoFace for kind of pointing this out. Let me see if I can actually get a, where's the drawing tool on here? I always get confused where it is. Now, if you have noticed, Bitcoin's been putting in a bit of a W pattern, like two sort of bottoms before bouncing off. And you can see right here, you see we have one and then two and then the bounce, right? And then down here, we had 1 and 2 and then the bounce. And currently it does look like we're having 1, 2. So the question is, are we now looking for that bounce to get us back to sort of that $8,200 level? Could we even potentially go as high as to break through the blue zone, eventually putting in a, short to midterm higher high? That would be the best case scenario. However, realistically speaking, we are still in this descending wedge. And if we don't break out of it, we are going to unfortunately fall lower, guys. But it's not all doom and gloom. Bakkt just hit an all-time high for daily volume, 47.3 million. I know, you're just so excited for the institutions, aren't they? Well, speaking of the institutions, yesterday, cryptocurrency's derivatives platform, ErisX, also launched. Not a lot of people talking about that, but they launched their physically settled Bitcoin futures. And you can see basically they're going to trade under the approval of the CFTC since it has received the derivative clearing organization license from the regulator. So that's basically that situation right there, guys. Now, also moving on, I do want to talk about not so good news. The fact that we do have, did I mention the Ledger Nano S? I think I did. Anyway, that was random. Anyway, so if we look over here at Whale Alert, you notice that they do say right here that 105 million US dollars worth of Ethereum, 789,000, have moved from PlusToken to an unknown wallet. Now, we know what the PlusToken guys were able to potentially do to the Bitcoin price, shattering it from 14K all the way down to 6.4. What is it going to do with something that is substantially less liquid like Ethereum? You could see, according to this report, I don't know, who's that guy right there in the picture? My girlfriend is always watching that guy on Instagram. He's like the scammer guy. Anyway, researchers claim that those associated with the scheme still hold more than 6.4 million Ether. Now, some of these analysts believe that the recent dump that did drop Bitcoin was due to this. We've been talking about it, right? Well, what about the Ethereum? Now, fearing the loss of that dump, are you going to see sort of other traders sort of front run the dump, right? Like people panic selling their Ethereum, afraid that Ethereum's going to dump anyway. That's just something I wanted to just mention to you guys. I'm not trying to freak everybody out, not trying to like spread FUD. Just want to be honest. This is the news that came out. Are they going to dump it? Are some of the investors going to dump it? I'm not sure, guys, but just keep in mind it's a lot less liquid than Bitcoin is. Now, talking back about Bitcoin, I don't want to get all doom and gloom today. I want to keep this rapid fire. I want to talk about Bitcoin privacy because we know that people that are using essentially Bitcoin as for illegal things, criminals, they're stupid, right? Because Bitcoin is not anonymous. Well, you can see right here, it says that developer Ben Woosley was watching the Hong Kong protesters and he saw something interesting. He said that they were actually using Bluetooth technology, allowing them to create mesh networks to organize messaging while avoiding intrusion, right? So what he found was that even though crypto is theoretically resistant to censorship, in practice, it's easy to knock out the network, right? What if we turn off the internet? So he basically created a Bluetooth-based network, Snowball. He named it Snowball because he's hoping that it'll catch on like a snowball effect, right? So basically, he wants to try to make it easier. It's like a variant of coin joining, right? And he's going to call it pay joins. And the goal is to get technology to snowball, right? So we'll see if this actually works out, if it's actually a viable way. I mean, I would assume that you would kind of still be able to figure it out on Chainalysis, but maybe not if you're using Bluetooth or if you're using these things like mesh networks, right? So I thought that was a pretty interesting story to bring to you. We also do have some altcoin news. Block One, the firm behind EOS, has launched a new $1.5 million grant program to support EOS IO development. So basically, EOS VC venture capital arm plans to award grants of $50,000 to qualified projects. Essentially, by launching the grant program, they are trying to attract more developers to the community to build on EOS, to boost the ecosystem, etc. So that's that situation. We also have KuCoin adding margin trading for KuCoin KCS. 10x leverage. Okay, thank you for only going as high as 10x, guys. But, you still probably shouldn't be offering margin trading on, these shit coins. But that being said, guys, an Australian crypto payment network is looking to drop on-chain Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash payments. Good or bad news? We're going to look into it. So essentially, this guy right here, Hayden Otto, he put this video out. Here's the video. It's called Bitcoin Attack Revealed. And essentially, he showed how you can double spend, and get your money back, essentially, and basically rip these guys off. So basically, the exploit involves paying a merchant who accepts Bitcoin with zero confirmations. There's the big problem right there, zero confirmations, but electing to use the lowest possible transaction fee. This makes it appear to the merchant as if the transaction has been paid, so they hand over the goods. The fraudster can then resend the Bitcoin back to themselves, and by electing to use a much higher fee, the second transaction overtakes the first transaction, as these are processed much faster by the network. So if you guys are thinking about trying this, too late. Looks like these guys are basically turning this off, and what they're going to do is basically move to just straight up Lightning Network, essentially, is what they're going to use moving forward, right? So, I don't know, good or bad, let me know, guys, but I do want to end on one story. Tim Draper is predicting, clearly, Bitcoin to reach $250,000 6 months after the halving, so halving is looking to happen in May. Right? So June, July, August, September, October. So by November of next year, Tim Draper says a $250,000 Bitcoin. And you guys were making fun of my $55,000 prediction. He's saying $250,000. 6 months after the halving. That's November. Oh, and he also says it's going to be thanks to women, mostly, because he says once women realize they are wasting 2 to 5.4% every time they swipe their credit card, they will definitely start looking for a better solution. Bitcoin. Let me know what you guys think about that. But that's it for me today. Also, guys, tomorrow, I'm going to be traveling. I don't know when I'm going to get my video out. I am looking to do an interview with, someone in the space. I'm not going to give it away just yet. You guys have to watch the video. But for tomorrow's video, it might be out at a somewhat weird time, but I will try to put the video out nevertheless. That being said, let's have a look at Bitcoin and see what we are doing. Yeah, we're just sort of hanging around here. So, I mean, you don't want to fall below short term, this sort of $7,000 level, because remember, we talked about the $7,000 level. That was the red zone. I don't have it pulled up right now, and that's why we fell. So, really want to see Bitcoin hold above 7,000, and especially want to see Bitcoin, essentially get above this right here, which is the $7,860 level. Like I said, if not, we do sort of risk bouncing around here to the end and maybe just falling off again. Don't want to see that happen, but you know, it is Bitcoin. Anything could happen. We could have another 43% China pump, right? Could happen, could happen. That being said, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Thank you for everyone that's been subscribing. You guys rock. 94,000 subscribers. Never would have imagined it, guys. When I had 6,000 subscribers and I met you guys at Neo DevCon, it's crazy the journey we've been on. But yeah, so pleasure and honor to be here with you. You guys know I'm not going anywhere, although I may start taking days off, but I'm not going anywhere, guys. That being said, if you want the ledger, drop a comment below. Haven't got subscribed yet? What are you waiting for? And that's it. That's it for me today, guys. Go enjoy your day. One day closer to the weekend. Tomorrow is Friday. We do know that futures close over the weekend, so we could have a very interesting Monday, but that is a few days away. What are we worried about that? Thanks again for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. I freaking love you. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.